Hey there, I'm Dialis,
And I'm Silex.
and welcome to Let's Play Palworld. We're doing something interesting in this Palworld run, you see, because we're not going to use a single Pal Sphere to catch any of the Pals we encounter. This is going to be a total no-catch run, with the only exceptions being legendaries. When we get to that point, we'll only use Pal Spheres to catch legendaries, but up until then, no Pal Spheres. The only way we can get Pals is going to camps and saving them or buying them from Pal vendors and so on.
And the Black Marketeer, we can also pick up eggs and use the incubators once we have them unlocked. And killing bosses very well may be a huge challenge considering we don't get to pick our pals necessarily. So what I'm going to do right off the get-go is basically pick up everything I can find, as you do in a survival-like game. And that's just to make sure that I can build a basic set of tools. Again, no pal spheres. But I need things, of course, to kill pals with, because killing pals is the only way to gain XP outside of hatching pals from eggs and saving them from the camps. Camps are actually very easily identifiable. If you look out in the distance where that smoke is right there, that right there is a camp. You will also see other pillars of smoke. Some are towns, but if you know where the towns are, you know which ones are not camps.
Yeah, so our first order of business, well, we each have a different way of going about doing things. I have mine, she has hers. Mine's a little bit peculiar, a very interesting way about going through this. You'll see that I'll have a lot of unfortunate accidents occurring in the very start of this run, while my wife, I believe, since she knows where the camps are, she'll be running and gunning right to them. I have less experience in this game than she does, though I have completed the game. She definitely has the experience going for her, so she'll know where the camps are, run to them, grab them, and so on. Me, I'm wet behind the ears, so to speak. But I still have to give
I've
them
also
engagement
played a
checks.
lot more survival games than he has. Some of my favorites being Ark, of course, 7 Days to Die, and it's actually a tough pick for the third. Honestly, I would say before they murdered their own game, Last Oasis. And because I can't just catch a lamb ball, I had to make my own workstation there, make my own tools, you know, the whole thing. Do 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 do. Gotta make a pickaxe. And we'll also make a torch. Because when it becomes nighttime in this game, it gets cold when you don't have any clothes on. There we go. And we're actually going to leave that there if my hubby needs to find it.
Yeah, so what we're probably going to end up doing in order not to freeze to death is we're going to go on a genocidal run for lamb balls at some point before the first night, so that way we don't freeze. Yeah, the torch will help, but if you can make some clothing really quick, that'll certainly provide you benefits so you don't have to hold out your torch in the middle of the night. It might be good for us at some point to get the beds as well, so that way we can just rush through the nights if we don't find that either of us um, need to go at night for whatever reason, such as grabbing lift monk effigies. You might say, why would you grab lift monk effigies? You don't have to catch anything. Well, we're thinking long term. Oh, dang it, I come to get this chest, but it needs a copper key this time. It's normally my strategy is to run behind the beginning and grab that chest, but this time it requires a copper key. But yeah, eventually, when we want to catch the legendaries, we will want to have an increased catch rate, so it won't benefit us early on, but later on it will. So now my official run
So
is
grabbing
beginning.
explorer notes along the way because I enjoy reading them in my spare time. I will not be reading them in the videos, but I'm positive they're on the wiki already, so definitely give them a good read. It's actually a very interesting story they have in this game. Each explorer note actually will tell the story of all the tower bosses, for instance, that tower right there. Very different story for her. I won't give any spoilers if anyone hasn't read them already. This game has been out a little while, which is why we're doing a no-catch video versus just a normal video. We're also both very new to recording, so any tips or things you want us to see us do that doesn't involve catching things, let us know in the comments below. You'll also be able to see both my perspective on my own channel and my husband Dialysis' perspective on his channel. The voice will be for both, but you'll be able to see each of our perspectives in the game on our respective channels. And we're creeping up on this camp here, hoping that the wild pals keep them busy long enough for me to release the pal inside. Just a little Malcrest. Not the best thing to have out in the start, but you know, we'll make do.
And you may have noticed something I've been doing. I've been running down the hills and then pressing crouch, and that enables you to slide, and so it gives you some really good fast traveling to get around the early areas. As you can see, I used it to get to that little warp point there. You'll also notice that I have picked up 2 pal spheres so far, but I don't intend to use them. What I actually intend to do at some point is likely to sell them, since these early pal spheres like Palsphere and Megasphere and so on aren't too good at catching legendary pals way later on in the game, but they might net me a few extra bucks, which might come in handy at some point. And just speeding through the text here, I really don't care what he has to say. I've seen it many times before. Although, if you're playing through the first time, enjoy the text that you have, the text that you see there. Because there's some Easter eggs that some of the characters actually say, so it's actually kind of cool.
So up until recently, the campfire mechanics in this game actually wouldn't stack. So you could build as many campfires as you wanted around yourself or the eggs you were trying to hatch. Uh-oh, I'm overweight. And it actually wouldn't change anything. And this actually influenced where I liked to build my bases. But because of that recent change, I have rethought how and where I want to build. Prior to the changeover, I loved building closer to the volcano, so I never had to worry about heat. Now, if you're built close to the volcano, every single time you go to cook food in like a cook pot, I need to stop picking up wood. Oh my goodness. Every time you would go to cook food early in the game, you would be roasting yourself alive. So I'm changing where I like to build. And I actually forgot that that was a thing. So when you pull out cold pals now, early game without clothes on, you start freezing yourself.
Oh,
Just like I did there.
Well, that's pretty... I was gonna say pretty cool, but it is pretty cool.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
okay. No dad jokes. Please, no.
It was coincidence. It really was interesting, fascinating. I did not know that they did that. So, what? I didn't pay attention to what you got earlier. Is it Pingot or something?
It is a little chilly, you know, to pull out a Malcrest. I really stretched that. I'm sorry. I won't do that again.
Yeah, you don't do any of those kinds of jokes. Pulls out one of those jokes.
I thought I'd give it a try, but I'm not a funny person, so.
Yes, you are. You have.
I'll make attempts, but it's probably not gonna work very well.
Awesome. They seem to be distracted. Let's hope I don't. Wait.
So where we're going
What?
is Marsh Island. It is the spawn point over here, where my little pointer box is. This is Marsh Island. I actually like building there. It's the same spot where
I'm confused.
We built our first base together when the game was in its newest stages. So I enjoy living there. It's a nice place. Lots of flat land, lots of open land. not a lot more to say on it, honestly.
Yeah, I
That's really what you want to find in this game, though, is flat open land. It keeps your pals from getting stuck more often because the AI is still a little janky. It does stupid things.
indeed. So, my love, I am curious. I just found a camp, and it had a cage with nothing in it, and I opened the cage and I got nothing.
Oh yeah, that would be me.
Oh, I thought the cages despawned?
Not immediately, no.
And
You have to de-render the area. So because you were still in the area, it didn't de-render yet.
but it allowed me to open the cage
Yep.
you already had opened?
Yep.
Fascinating. So, you know that, Spawn. Okay.
I've
well, you know
seen
a
that
lot.
happen a few times. I don't really know what causes it, because I've also run up on cages that friends have opened, but they were already open, and I couldn't open them, if that makes sense. I don't know anymore. Yeah, I ran up on cages that were already open from friends that I could not open because they were already open. There we go.
Yeah, well, so that's new to me. Very interesting, at the very least. So at this point, I just find myself running around. Oh, did we already mention that if we die, we drop all of our pals that are on us and our items? Because that
No, but
happens.
that's a pretty basic setting, you know? If you die, everything falls to the ground.
So no death warping.
Nope.
So now you know why I did what I did earlier, viewers. That's exactly why. Because there'd be no point in trying to gather stuff.
I'm not a fan of death warping outside of solo mode. It's makes things dull and uninteresting. Um, Part of the challenge is, you know, getting out of that dangerous area with your uh, with whatever you've harvested. So
Yeah, if I was playing the game super casually on my own, then I don't mind so much. I'll use death warping or whatever. It's not a big deal.
I wouldn't really call this, you know,
Oh jeez.
competing with each other though.
No, not strictly.
Okay, maybe a little friendly competition.
Yeah, but if one or the other
A little
needs
bit.
like genuine help, we'll be sure to chide them for it and perhaps offer some aid or something. Because I mean, there is no PvP yet in Palworld, so that kind of restricts us as to our, well,
I still don't know how that's
combative
gonna work.
tendencies.
It's yeah, I just don't know how that would work.
Oh jeez.
Because like things like Jet Dragon and Frostallion can just kill you with one skill when you're wearing the best armor in the game.
Oh, and as you can clearly see, we're not going to worry about spoiling what pals are where and what their names are, who does what, and so on, since we largely
The
know.
game's been out long enough.
Yeah. Also, we also don't intend to be using maps to find out the actual camp location, so again, here's another advantage my wife has. She generally knows where they are, so she will be able to find them much more easily than I.
I also have memorized a few egg locations as well that you guys have seen me run up to.
Yeah, so she's going into this with a lot of experience, so hopefully I won't frustrate you guys too much with this, but I'll be doing my best here. Got a bunch
I
of stuff.
also have the unfortunate habit of not being able to finish games. Now, we will do our very best, and Dialis will keep me on track as best he can for this. So we will be finishing this game. But yeah, the list of games I have actually finished on my own is very, very small. Very small. Like, maybe under 5.
Yeah, she has a problem with finishing things.
That's why I married a counselor. And again, we just slip past the guards who have machine guns and is pointed right at me, and we run away. Mine foreman floppy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
actually really good because I need something to work a base. And we're gonna just keep wandering here,
This is
make
a bad
sure we
thing.
don't die. And I actually want to put a base right over here. This is where our first base is gonna be. Like I said, Marsh Island, open, flat land. It's great. The only downside is being chased by syndicate thugs when you rob the camp. And there's also a skill fruit tree over there. There's a chest spawn over there, an egg spawn over there, and a dungeon.
I wonder
Okay,
where
they
she
stopped
has actually
following me.
made her base. See, I've made my base the last few times. We had some bad recordings in the past, but I've tried to make my base in a particular spot. My wife knows where, near like a chillet, near his thing on like a mine area, but I don't know if I'm going to do that this time. I think I might just change things up and put it, you know, somewhere. Who knows specifically where, but I'll be wandering around to try to find that out. In fact, I think I might be turning around here in a little bit so I can take a look-see at certain pals. And I was using that to free up some weight in my inventory. That's why I was doing what I was doing. But I'm going to grab myself some mushrooms here because I need to eat food to live because I don't want to die. Yeah.
So just a tip when you're placing your first PAL box, if you haven't played the game before, if you look out, you can see just the faintest shadow of a grayish line. That is actually the limit of your base. So you'll see me walking around like this, trying to place it just right where I want it. And the reason there is because I didn't want to lip over toward this river too much. We actually have a pet to help us build now. We'll check him out. Ah, so nice. We're actually going to start working on base building, which is what I was doing, unlocking almost everything that I could. First thing on the agenda is making our floppy a bed, though, so he doesn't get too stressed. Happy pals work better.
Oh.
Or maybe a chest first.
And if we haven't mentioned it before, viewers, we do intend to edit out any of the boring parts where it might be like we're sitting at a mine and just hitting the rocks repeatedly and so on and so forth, but we hope to cut into where things get a little interesting. I'll try to make it as smooth as possible so at least some of the jump cuts make sense, so you're not left in the dark.
So another thing to note is anything you place in your base boxes can actually be used in your base. So I just put all my wood and stone in that box, and I can still build with it, regardless of whether it's in my inventory or the base's inventory, as long as I'm inside this little blue line.
On one of my solo plays, I actually made a base right here. No particular reason, I just put the base right around there. I don't think I'm going to do that this time. Because at least the pals, oftentimes when I would warp back, they'd get stuck in the water or some other sorts of irritating problems. So I'm just not going to make a base here in this particular spot.
I also like to put my pal beds on the outer ring of my base, like so. And Floppy will take care of that for us. And then we'll actually put down some foundations. Not too many just yet, because I want to get the workbench down. And things being slightly crooked doesn't bother me as much as it does some people. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. Like, all the foundations, the wood facing the same direction, those things don't bother me. I'm sorry if it bothers you. It's just how it is. We all play the game differently.
And now we've come full circle back to whoever made this first workbench. I think it was you. There's a workbench near the beginning. If it was me, then oops.
Aw, you found my workbench?
Yeah.
Aw.
And I started using it earlier, and then I wandered around, and now I've come all the way back again to the workbench, just coincidentally. So it's kind of funny.
I've got clothes being made.
Nice. I'll be making them shortly. And by shortly, I mean literally right now. Yeah, I'm a bit indecisive this time. I want to discover a good place to make a base.
They haven't fixed the sort thing yet, by the way.
Fiber.
If you open your inventory and press the sort tab, it refreshes the timers on all your spoilable items in your inventory. It does that in box inventories and station inventories too. All you have to do is hit sort.
Yeah, I did show that off. I just didn't say anything because I think my wife might have been monologuing in a good way.
I'm sorry. I should let you talk more.
No, I had really.
No,
There's nothing
you don't
special.
want to talk.
Yeah, I'm sure I want to talk. Just sometimes I just don't want to talk. It's just a balance. You were probably talking about something super important, so I decided
I highly doubt that. I really do.
everything you have to say is important, my love.
Only to you.
So what you can see here is I'm making a common shield. The shield will become useful because if they try to hit you and and they cause damage to you, they first have to totally break your shield before any of the damage actually affects your health. So if something is going to one-shot you, it'll first have to break the shield and then they'll have to hit you again. I think it's called shield gating.
Yes, in other games it's called shield gating,
Okay.
where you have that brief moment of invulnerability after your shield breaks.
So I teleported here because I think I have an increased chance to get something in particular that I want. Oh, and that's late game, as you can see right up there. By late game, I mean they haven't implemented it yet. It's like the world tree or something like that. I'm sure it's going to be important in a future update. I can't wait to see it. They've done such an amazing job with this game.
If you remember the very first cutscene that you see on Dialysis is video only because I'm hosting. The first tablet thing you pick up when you spawn says something along the lines of, like, the towers are...
The key.
Yeah, the towers are the key and, like, the world tree is the end, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it says. It's been a while. But that leads me to believe that eventually, when we do have the tree, that we're going to need to kill every single tower boss in order to access it. So on this save, because we do intend to keep it after we finish it for, like, eventual later content purposes, we will be killing all the tower bosses, because, you know what, Victor is actually a really fun fight. That is the last tower boss you can access in the game as it is, and he is a great fight. You're gonna love watching it.
Yeah, Victor is certainly an incredibly challenging foe. I think when you, me, and one of our other friends challenged him, we did manage to beat him our first try, but it wasn't for lack of preparation, certainly. We had all of the best pals that we could bring. We really prepared, and we still barely won, but we did win. And I think we were playing on hard mode, was it?
Yep. Okay, so we're actually playing on what would be considered normal mode, and that's just because the XP gain in hard mode would make this run, particularly no catching for XP, very annoying to do. It would make it very grindy, and mainly for us, and we would probably have to cut out a lot of stuff just to make it watchable, and we didn't really want to do that.
I believe our
Go
settings
kill a lamb ball.
are... I was going to say, I believe our settings are set so we can have up to 3 bases at one time, correct?
Yep. And since we're doing it separately, we each get 3.
Yes, for a total of 6 bases. So we're not joining one another's guild, which is what will enable us, which is what will enable us to do this sort of thing. I figured it would be better for us that way, because we already can't hurt each other because there's no PvP in Palworld quite yet, so we don't
I'd
have
hunt
to
him down and
risk.
kill him.
What's that?
Nothing.
So this is a bit of a risky play, but I'm going to, uh-oh, I just remembered something. I'm having a flashback to some other mistake I made, but maybe I won't repeat the mistake and I'll be able to get a pal here in a little bit. It's a bit of a risky play, but I'll attempt it. Oh, also, notice that when I'm, soaking wet from getting out of the water, I run a little slower. I like that little addition. And as you can see, though it is night, the smoke rises.
Well, you know, they gotta have campfires to keep warm, too.
So how bad of an idea is this? Oh, this could
If you
be
have to
very...
ask yourself that, it's usually a bad idea.
Hmm. Yeah, this might be a... Oh, but I want that, though. Can I... Can I manage it? They haven't seen me. I snuck in. I got it! Yeah! I snuck in and
What'd
got
you
it!
get? What'd you get?
I got a dumb mud. I snuck into the
Oh,
camp and got out without them seeing me. Man, I feel like Solid Snake.
nice. Okay, so Dummud is a, for lack of a better phrase, he's a giant floppy fish. But in this, the way we're playing this, he's actually really good to get early game because he not only will water crops or uh, water the wheel to make the grinder grind stone into palladium or wood into fiber, but he also is a miner. So he will work the uh, stone mine, which we get later. Oh, stone pit, sorry. Uh, that we unlock at level 7. And I can unlock the ranch and berry plantation. In this mode, the fire bow and fire arrows are also pretty useful. When I first played the game, I didn't use them at all. And turns out it's actually kind of nice if you do use it.
Oh, and one thing that's good to note, I think it's unrelated to that, is Hoocrates is very good for getting you a lot of fiber. So if you manage to kill Hoocrates, he'll drop 10 fiber per kill, I believe. So in fact... Oh. Focus on same enemy, and...
So early game combats are a little scary, by the way. Hence why I'm avoiding that thing. It's not just because of his level, it's that he's dark and he hits hard. It's a great pal to have early game if you want to catch him. He does mining, and he's just great to have around. And you are near me somewhere, I believe.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Dumb undefeated Hoocrates is the message I just got.
Oh.
And so it's a little bit of dark humor, but you can use a dead lamb ball as a soccer ball. See? Me! We're just kicking them around. I'm sorry. Dark humor. We should not play with the dead bodies. It's wrong. Don't play with dead bodies.
That sounds like a good life lesson. Don't play
It is
with
a
dead
good life
bodies.
lesson. Do not play with dead bodies.
That's
Goodness.
something to teach the kids. Depresso is aggressive, by the way. If he sees you, he will try to kill you. I mean, it is, Depresso, so I mean, he's not exactly that strong.
There is typing system in this game, if you didn't know, and also typing sometimes has special effect on different skills, and when you see that little danger signal above your pal, that means they can be one-shot by some skill that the enemy holds. That's okay, we live.
That's what danger means? I thought it was just, oh, your pal is low health.
Yes, it means they can be one-shot.
Oh. Well, I learned something today.
I'm not sure why the floppy just went back to bed, considering it's daytime. We may be glitched. Hopefully not a restart the game glitch.
So this
Just
is where you can
pal
expend
boxing back in?
your lift monk effigies.
Yep, okay. Pal docks back in fixes that.
So I went a whole day without building a base, but I might be building one near here pretty soon. So this is why I might want to build a base nearby, simply because of these, is it's nice to have a good old mining spot in a really close location, but I also don't want it to be too cramped, because that's what I ran into before, is,
That's what I'm going to use the second base for.
yeah.
And I'm picking up skill fruit because early game, popping skills on your low-level pals is actually very useful. The only thing you need to note with skill fruit is the higher the power it is, usually the slower it is to cast. So I'm pretty sure CT is cast time, and you'll see a cast time 15, power 70, power 80, cast time 18. So it does just exponentially go up. Like if you have a pal that has all high level skills later in the game, you'll notice that they don't really use those skills quickly at all. So sometimes it's better to have a lower level skill on your pal at high level and just the 2 high levels with it to speed up the skill spam, so to speak.
Yeah, I found that spamming the low-level skills can cause quite a lot of damage, and if you miss with the high-level skill that has a really long cooldown, it really punishes you for it. So it's finding a good balance between low and high-level skills, what you find useful or valuable to teach. And something to consider, slightly unrelated, when making a base is that your pals will oftentimes try to work the surrounding like trees, rocks, and so on in your base. So if you don't want them getting distracted by things, it's good to place a base away from like stone and trees that you wouldn't want them working on. So for me, I was trying to decide if I wanted to put my base here or perhaps here where I can get access to some iron constantly, because I believe it will in fact respawn. As long as like a day passes or something, in-game day of course. So, oh, and it's near a warp too. Another thing you might consider in making a base is placing your base far away from these potential warps, so that way you have another place in like a useful zone to warp to. But you can always destroy your base and replace it elsewhere, but keep in mind that'll take a lot of work to get things moving. So I think what I'll do is I will place my base here. I might want to first create the platforms upon which my base will be built, because I like the idea of having my PAL box inside a building. If it's not entirely clear why I might want my base nearby this, well, maybe I can put it over here. I want iron to slowly build up over time in my base and have my pals mine it out naturally. Reason being is I just want to have a slow intake of iron over time to have a fairly large stockpile of it. You will need a lot of iron over the course of a game, so I might want to...
It'll be less so for us, but otherwise, like, all PAL balls are gonna require metal of some sort after, like, the first or second tier. So you go through a ton of metal.
So my idea is hopefully I'll be able to get this iron within here and maybe one of these stone. When you are hungry, I believe you work slower. I will go through the dump mud, so I'll just eat the raw dump mud. So when you kill pals, kill pals, catch pals, you will still get some resource from them. So even though I didn't kill dump mud, I still got dump mud meat. So that's a good thing to note. Oh, and you want to right-click while building, because it'll allow and enable continuous building. And I'm actually going to go 4. Because I just want to be extra careful, because I ran into this issue too. Ow. It said I just took damage when there's nothing around. But anyway, you want to be careful when building that you don't lose. Oh, where is my train of thought? I lost my train of thought. Oh, and we have dogs, by the way. And unfortunately, we don't have total control over them. So hopefully we'll be able to stop talking and...
I mean, they're dogs. They hear a noise and they think they need to bark at it.
Yep, as they do. Alright, so I built my first base. Now, I want to test to see if I can build around this with the wooden foundations. I can. So all the way around? Brilliant. Alright, so that'll enable me to have my PAL box inside here. Now the catch is I don't know if I'll be able to replace these things with stone in the future, so I'll just have to figure that out. Oh, and you may have noticed that when I took my first 2 level ups, I took work speed initially, because I don't have any pals that can help me to work on things quite yet, so I like to work a little bit faster. Otherwise I like to pump things into stamina up to 200, because it seems to be a fairly balanced number, so I can work on things longer. Alright, now I'll assign Dumbud to the base. And because he has level 2 mining, he should be able to go right on over here and start mining the ore, which is right inside the base range. And some trees are inside the base range, which I wanted, and a stone. So this was the perfect location, well, as far as I'm concerned. It's achieving what I wanted it to achieve.
And I did teach my Malchus Sand Tornado just because it gives it another skill to spam when we're fighting. So this is the first village you usually come across, the small village. It's just a small village. But as we come in, you can talk to this guy. He'll talk to you, tell you to stay out of trouble. Come over here, we have a pal merchant, which I'm going to talk to real quick. You can buy pals from him, and of course he has a fox spark, which is my favorite pal in this entire game, but I can't afford to buy anything yet. And that will rotate every time you leave the area and come back, which we will not be abusing, right, honey? Right, honey?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was focused. I was focused on
okay.
building a straw pal bed. Yeah, we don't intend to use it more than once an in-game day, so that way we don't take advantage of it and manipulate it. Now, oh, this is interesting. Sometimes when you have a base, wandering merchants can come on by. Now, I don't have any money, but I might have things to sell. So let's see what he has available. Oh, he has milk, medicine, pal parts, which are used to make a lot of different things, eggs, and some skill fruit. So this can come in handy, and if I wanted to... No, that's right. Since it's a no-catch run, I'm not going to catch the wandering merchant.
Nope, no catching wandering merchants either.
So here's an example of selling the pal spheres, because I'm not going to be using them, so it gives me a little extra spending money. I have a bunch of arrows, too. I could probably sell them, but it says 0G, so nope. Next to the menu. Now, is there anything I actually want from this guy right now? No, because my pals are pretty happy. I've got some food. So I think in that respect, I want to see, technology-wise, I want to build a feed box, and I will want a berry plantation, a ranch at some point, a parachute, and maybe the fire bow and arrows. We'll figure that out. And see, there's all the ore.
Honestly, the only way to make the fire bow or fire crossbow worth getting is you need to have a lamp bell, or I think that's what it's called, lamp bell? A little candle-looking thing.
Oh, flam bell.
Flam bell. Yeah, flam bell on a ranch because they will drop fire organs for you to pick up. Or they'll pick it up and put it in a box. The bane of my early game existence. Dire howls.
Oh,
The
yes.
scariest thing in this game early on. We're gonna give them a wide berth there, and
Many of the
we're gonna
times we
climb
were...
up this way.
Yes, many of the times we had had our little attempts at recording the game. We had a lot of run-ins with these guys, the dire howls, so fortunately it seems like we might be able to avoid them this time. I personally haven't run into them yet, for which I am very thankful and grateful. But nothing saying that won't change in the future.
And here we are at our next camp. And that is definitely not what I wanted to see in the cage.
I don't know if my wife's already mentioned it, but the feed box, the pals inside your base can come here and automatically feed when they get hungry. And you want the pal beds so that way they don't become sad or angry. So I'm going to place a storage box in here.
Okay. Well, this fight is not going our way, so we're gonna abandon ship here and run this way.
Oh, another good thing to note that as long as resources are inside a box on your base, you are able to use or build with them. You don't have to have them on your person. So it becomes immensely useful to just build these boxes and have places to store all of your stuff within your base. I'm going to build 2 boxes for right now and not have them too close.
He doesn't always listen. It's okay.
If you have the boxes too close, you might have some issues in trying to access the one you want. So, just a good idea to give them a little bit of space. So, I do have an egg here and some, like a little pal fluid, high quality pal oil. I'm surprised I got that already, probably because of the dumb mud. Oh, we drop things. I'm going to store gold here too. So, yeah, I just want to store all these things here so that way when I need to make it in the base, I got the space. I do believe I want to make myself an old bow right now. Oh, which means I also need to remake a primitive workbench. Now, I think I'll want it.
Bow and arrow are bow and arrow is probably the best early weapon. Actually, anything ranged is the best weapon in the game. It's hands down, you don't want to be in melee range of anything in this game. You can't dodge attacks effectively, and you're just gonna die a lot more if you try and melee this game. Not saying it's impossible, it just makes the game a lot harder, and we're already making it harder on ourselves, so let's not add to it.
It'll be a lot easier to get into melee range of creatures and of the pals and things, once you get a good set of armor and a weapon that'll encourage you to go into melee, such as a spear or a sword or something. I think swords late game. But yeah, definitely in the meantime, we want to leave most of the fighting up to our pals who are capable of doing far more damage than we are. So yeah, we'll primarily stick to bows and things until we can get a little more tanky. And then, because it costs a little bit to be making so many arrows, personally, I might find myself switching over to a spear or some other form of weaponry. So at least that's the hope, that's the idea. Because I tend to run out of arrows and things incredibly quickly. And
This is why we have to get Vixies.
yes, we just gotta find them. I'm sure you've already found several pals to work with.
Currently, I've only got a Malcrest, Floppy, and a Toko Toko. Which is not very helpful, actually. So one thing you can do, Toko Tokos have this nasty skill called Implode. It will either kill them or drop them down to like 1/3 health when they use it. I like to remove it, but unfortunately I can't remove it unless I teach him another skill. So we're just gonna teach him Power Bomb quick. And then we go in here and we right-click that skill, and it gets rid of it. We can always put it back if we want to by left-clicking. It brings up the skill select swap screen. But for now, we're keeping that skill off him because I don't need him blowing up.
One thing I forgot is in order to make a bed, you don't need cloth, you need wool. So back to Lamball. I need to kill some Lamball again. Fortunately, again, they spawn near the...
It's been a couple months since we've played this, so, you know, mistakes happen.
Yeah, you only need to build the bed once to be able to upgrade your base. Upgrading your base enables you to put more pals on the base for them to work. So, it's fairly advantageous to upgrade your base as soon as possible. I mean, in my case, I only have one pal. It's not as big of a deal, but it is something to consider. I want to have it all prim and proper and ready should I get more pals, which obviously I intend to do pretty soon. I'm just getting a firm foundation, which, admittedly, I think I have now. So I think after I build my shoddy bed, I'm going to go searching for more of these camps. Oh, speaking of which, since I don't know camp locations very well, I intend to be marking them on my map so I can go and visit them when they respawn. At least I think that'll be a very good thing for me to do, considering I'm at a slight disadvantage since my wife is an expert Palworld no-catch run extraordinaire. I've got that to compete with.
So I actually did start this run on a solo mode because I thought it would be kind of a fun way to make the game more challenging. And we shortly after decided that, hey, why don't we do it together? And that's mainly, as a married couple, sometimes it's hard to find things that we want to do, that we both want to do, and thankfully games are one thing that we both can come together on, more or less, because I like my survival games, even the hardcore core and competitive edge, and he likes his games that, as he puts it, he can pause and put down. So that kind of makes things harder for us to find things that we both enjoy. So one thing we decided to do is, hey, why don't we just start recording it? That way, you know, there's a set schedule that we're both working toward. And we both liked the idea. So, of course, you know, I have my demotivated spikes, as everyone does, and he helps me through them, and then he has his, and I help him through his. But that's why our relationship works, is we both try and help each other.
Yeah, working together, loving one another. That is the, well, that's how most good relationships work. Okay, all good relationships. So one thing that often happens
No, no,
to
no, no, no,
people,
bad windworm, bad wind. Oh, no, 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 no.
well,
He gonna kill me.
is they sometimes grow apart over the years, especially with kids and extracurricular activities for the kids and so on. Becomes more of a thing, and so they lose things in common with one another. So finding things and in keeping these
Why are
things
there
throughout
three of them?
life, as she's
Why are
being
they all aggroing me?
horribly attacked. This has been your counseling moment with Dialis.
Why are they all attacking
We'll now
me?
return
Anywhere. I
you.
want to go anywhere.
We'll now return you to my wife's horrified screaming.
Okay.
To your regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, keep shared interests and try to maintain that over different times. And oh yeah, now it's my turn to have some aggressive pals. Fortunately, it's just a couple of rushors.
This one, I try and say something encouraging.
That's okay. See, rushors, they have this big tackle attack, so as long as you don't stay in line with them, it's not too big a deal. So, eventually, I'm sure they will tire themselves out. And by tire themselves out, I mean I'll get out of their aggro radius, I hope. But I gotta
And
keep
yep,
an eye.
you know, definitely work toward
Okay.
keeping those shared interests, you know?
Like running away from Rushor and surviving against Dire Howl.
And Van Werf,
Van Worms? Where are you to fight Van Worms?
I was where it wasn't supposed to be.
Jeez, you may as well be running around Gobfins too while you're at it.
No, 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 definitely not. I'm back in the happy starter zone where things aren't gonna try and murder me.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Oh, and I have a key so I can open this chest.
And there's an egg that I did not know was there.
Cloth outfit schematic. I can make an uncommon cloth outfit. So schematics are usually used to make us better quality gear in the game. However, uh-oh. Okay, I just took small fall damage. However, though, it takes this thing called ancient civilization parts, I believe, to make many of the better pieces of gear, and cloth armor being better really isn't worth the ancient civilization parts, in my opinion. Granted, I've never made it, but just thinking ancient civ part in cloth armor makes me think this is terrible. So I like to save it for better things, like later on, like handgun schematics or something. My favorite being like the actual handgun or pistol, so I can use that to fire at creatures. That's definitely my favorite thing to get a good schematic on, but that I don't think we're gonna get there for quite some time.
Well, I'm level 5. I'll be there soon.
Oh yes, I've got her.
I should just start killing random things, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I'll do it once I get back to base, because I want that egg.
So it may have been silly of me, since we have the death thing on, to take my pal Dummud with me in my exploring. So I think I'm actually going to put him back at base and then resume my exploring. Maybe I can make my, oh, what is that called? The glider. Yeah, the glider. Because if I can make myself a glider, if I can take advantage of some hills, I can do some pretty good fast traveling. And as long as I have Dummud there and I die a horrible death away from my base, he'll be sitting there waiting for me. So I'll always have him working around the base doing his things. But what I will want to do is get some food for him, good food, or at the very least find some berry plants and get the berries and load that up, because you'll only lose one food at a time as it decays in the stack, and the feed box doesn't preserve your food, so it's a good idea just to get a lot of berries, cook them up, and stack them inside your food trough, maybe that alone. So that way, oh, I didn't realize there's more ore here. So that way your food is well managed.
And there's better foods to feed your base pals later on, like jam-filled buns and salad. Ironically enough, salad is the best food in game for bases.
Oh, actually, there's something I should show. So you see, I can't exactly... Let me click him. No, let me put him in the pal box. Now can I click him? Pal box menu. F. There we go. So you can see the pal's stats over here is attack, defense, work speed, and so on. And down here in the bottom left are their passive skills. The passive skills affect some of their other stats, like as you can see, defense. In this case, hard skin increases defense by 10%. Here's their moves. My wife may have gone over this at some point, but I'll go over it a little bit here too.
No, I didn't, but I have my screen up so people can see it.
Okay.
He's referring to the stats like attack, defense, work speed, and work suit abilities,
Yep.
which tells you what they can work and what their work level is.
And my wife described that earlier when I picked up the Dummud, how she said it could do watering and mining and transporting and so on. And you can see at the very bottom is how much food it generally consumes or needs to eat. And as you can see, he's a little hungry, 240 out of 300 food. He can eat more than most. Some of the other pals you get, like maybe Floppy or Catava or something, will have like 100, 150 hunger. So that kind of causes some things. Issues if they get too hungry, they can become depressed, that's what medicine comes in for. So all of that in time, you'll see us taking advantage of things and monitoring all of that. So looks like his sanity's going up because he's probably sleeping. If I had to guess, it's nighttime. No, it's not night yet.
Did we want to sleep?
If
Or do
you
you wanna
need
do
to,
stuff
but I
overnight?
need to create
Oh,
some
I
walls.
can't actually. I have to do the walls.
Yeah, I need to cut some trees a little bit, and then I'll be able to build the walls. Now all you need is a singular, there's the stone axe. You just need a singular roof tile over the space that contains your bed. So as long as you can build a wall and one singular roof tile, you'll be able to sleep the night away. The game considers you to have actual shelter. Fortunately, there's no hurricanes, tornadoes, or winds to speak of, so this
Yet.
is yeah. Or no mods doing that, so this is totally useful. So, oh, actually I would like to build a wooden wall with a window. So I'll place the wall there, and let us get where's the roof? The roof right here. And voila, now I have a sleepable area. Sleepable? That's a word. So,
Sleepable.
alright, let's hop in the bed.
And that was actually the timer, so did we want to...
Oh, so it sounds like it's a good time for us to wrap up. New day.
That is
new
where we
day of
will wrap
Palworld.
it up. I actually have a timer set for how long we want this to be, so we are out of time for today, and since we both slept into a new day, that is a very good spot to stop.
So, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you again soon. This has been Dialis.
In the next video is the silence.
And signing off. Have a good one.
Yep.